Hi, this is Leigh, and I'd like to welcome you to Alcmy Intuitive Tarot. This is a channel where I use my intuitive ability, my clairvoyance, my clairaudience, my psychic gifts, anything that comes up to interpret oracle decks, cards, whatever else I pull out of the hat. Today is Friday, and Fridays are what I'm going to call Freaky Fridays, and I'm going to use the decks that I have that are a little bit on the edgy side, like the Naughty Oracle, Dark Confessions, the Bad Arse Tarot deck, and there may be a couple of others. We'll see how this goes. So the idea is that we're going to try and get some information for Friday, today, for this day, which is Friday. But if you're finding this on a non-Friday day, then this might be your message. So coming right out of the gate, the Five of Swords. Game over. So what I'm getting off this card is that there's a lot of endings happening right now. We've just come out of the shadow for Mercury retrograde, and there are a lot of endings. Relationships are ending. People's paradigm of the way that they think is changing. People are being forced to look at different ways to think about things. Jobs may be ending. Even people are ending. I know that I myself have lost a pet, actually two pets that are close to me. One is mine and one is my friend's. And I've heard of other individuals who have lost people in their lives. So right now in this world, we are going to be going forward into 2025, and we're going to be seeing a lot of endings. And people who are not on the frequency of positivity in the higher realms are going to be experiencing this game over situation, whether it be in the way they're thinking, whether it be separation from people that are important to them, or other things. It's up to each and every one of us to accept the challenge. So the next card here is the Ace of Pentacles. Isn't that a cool card? I love these cards. So accept the challenge. You know, you're going to have endings, and you're not listening to the messages that Spirit has been giving you. And those come in the form of karmic lessons. And believe me, I screw up all the time. I'm terrible at this. You know, we get emotionally attached to things or people or places. You know, we get set in our ways. And we are given a gift by the divine, which can lead us into a pathway of abundance, whether that be tangible wealth, like pentacles, like property, money, people, spiritual wealth, that kind of thing. It's up for us to accept the challenge, and if we don't, guess what? Game over. 5 of Swords. So let's get another card from this deck. And it is the 7 of Pentacles. So many of you have worked your butt off. I mean, you've been committed to things, whether that be your job, whether that be a person, a relationship, your way of thinking, all those types of things. Those you have put the effort in. I mean, you have your opinions and you're sticking to them. And so I interpret this card as, yeah, it's falling. It's falling on the ground. Because it's time for change. And we need this change in our life in order to get our pentacles, in order to keep our pentacles, our abundance. And we need to accept the illumination, accept the lessons, the truths that we're receiving. We need to also share them so that others can accept them. But if we don't, again, the story is going to be game over. And we won't get our pentacles. So sad. And some of us have been struggling with pentacles our whole life. We've been really committed to whatever this crap was that we were conditioned to learn. Whether it's propaganda, whether you went through some difficult things as a child that have shaped your way of thinking. Maybe you went to a school that shaped your way of thinking, or or perhaps you're like me and you grew up in a culture that was very religious. And it was very oppressive. Now, temperance typically is divine intervention, but I'm interpreting this card as that divine intervention, that knowledge of such. Like you can see in this, she is getting busy there. So sometimes there's not always good things that we grow up with. And it can cause us to have, some type of thinking that's not healthy for us. It can open us up. Like we may be rebelling from this oppression, or, the things that we received or worked hard to craft our personality with. And unfortunately, it's given us a few bad habits. And those bad habits, only you know what your bad habits are. I know what mine are. I've gotten rid of most of my really bad habits, but I still have a few bad habits. And if we don't accept this change in our lives, if we don't accept the illumination, the lessons, the karmic lessons that we receive from these people in our lives, or situations we get ourselves into, could be also addictions, then we're going to have game over. And it's hard. I mean, we get stuck. This is the Hanged Man. Yikes, that guy's in trouble. I know you've been to a party like that. Okay, is this a Hollywood party? Anyways, yeah. We get stuck in our mindset and we can't change. And eventually, if we get too off balance, then justice is going to step in and level those scales out. And the wheel of fortune is going to be here, and we're going to be forced to have a change in our life. That's going to be this one. So it's super important that we contemplate what's going on, what's going down, what's the lesson, and use our strength. Yikes. And use our strength. Sorry. I think we're back at that party again. I told you it was Friday. So anyways. And this is happening now. This is happening now for many of us. So, what does the Dark Confessions deck have to say to us about our shadow side? Let me see here. Spirit. I knew I was losing you, but I didn't do anything to fight for you. That's one of those karmic enlightenments that we get. That's the sun giving us a lesson, illuminating a situation. Maybe you lost a relationship. Many of us have. Or many of us have put up with. Maybe you're on the other half of that equation where you're the one that somebody isn't fighting for. I know that's my story. I'm usually in that situation. And oftentimes people shadow side, they're overwhelmed, they're drowning in their own thoughts, they can't get outside of their thoughts to make these changes that we need to make. And oftentimes we lose faith, and we might even try and blame somebody else for our own karmic lesson. Because, it's a lot easier to blame somebody else than it is to deal with the situation. This situation has become very difficult for me to manage. It's it's draining me. We become exhausted. And especially if that karma, those lessons are stacking up and we're ignoring them, we are going to feel like we're drained. We don't know where to start. We get so regretful about what we've done that we're just stuck. There he is. I guess this is not a man, this is a feet hanged woman. Or no, could be a man. Put gender, how it applies to you. I'm just looking at the cards. I can't tell. He's got something on their head. Anyways, we get stuck and focused on our own life, and we can't be bothered. I know I get busy. And, perhaps we're lying to ourselves. My mask keeps me safe, and I need to fake my feelings. Perhaps somebody's lying to you. Perhaps you don't want to acknowledge that somebody's not being truthful. Perhaps you're lying to somebody. It's leading, manipulating, love bombing, whatever it is. Everybody wants what they want. And that's why it's a karmic lesson. When we don't use our discernment, we can fall prey to those lessons. And sometimes you may be guided into situations if you consider yourself a chosen one. You may be brought into situations to help people with their karmic lessons, to help them get out of this mask situation, to help them take their mask off and look at themselves and write their story so they can illuminate themselves and they don't run into this, the game over. That is why it's so super critical to listen to your discernment, to cultivate your discernment, to pray, to listen to other people that are trying to help you and not just dismiss them. That's why it's so important to raise your vibration, because as we move forward into the future, we're going to lose people who are of lower vibration, because the planet will no longer tolerate this situation, and you see the planet is trying to cleanse itself. Now, this, some of you might think is silly, but I believe weather is a form of cleansing. Like these huge rains, these huge winds, you know, we take a shower, you know, we might, if we have something negative, we'll blow it out, or shake it off. It could be like an earthquake. You know, these are all ways that the planet is cleansing itself. We're going to see this continue on into the future. And so I am going to pull one more from this Mystic Journey Oracle. Some final words. 3 cards popped out. So one is spark, one is captured, and one is wisdom. So obviously, you don't want to be captured. You don't want this game over situation for yourself. Don't let all this crazy propaganda, minutia, like things, people, negative situations lead you astray to where you're bound up, to where you become bound up by yours truly. The devil is about restriction. And when you find yourself in bondage, not literally, use your safe word. Anyways, when you find yourself in bondage, then you are captured. And moving into the future, you don't want to be in that situation. Whether your future is tomorrow, next week, next month, or the rest of your life. Use your wisdom. Take those lessons. Use that illumination that you receive through your discernment, through your chakra system, and let it spark you to change, to look at your life differently, to not get stuck. Don't get stuck in the negativity. Because we get stuck in the negativity, we lower our vibration and we have no gratitude. So use your sun to take your lessons and use the spark to receive your wisdom. And that will help you. And with that said, peace, love. One more thing, please leave me a comment down below or a like if you liked my reading. I would love to receive your feedback and see how I'm doing. This is a new endeavor for me, and I would love to hear from you all. And of course, I would love it if you would subscribe, help me grow the channel. Thank you.